Ladies and gentlemen, quiet moments of our lives, when all the noise and distractions of the world fade away, there is something deep within us that speaks without words. A nudge, a feeling, a sense that tells us what to do, where to go, and who to trust. This is instinct, the inner guide that each of us carries but too often ignores. Today I want to share with you the 4 instincts you should never ignore, for they are the keys to unlocking your highest potential and walking in alignment with your true self. There is a subtle, yet profound force within each of us that often goes unnoticed in the hustle and bustle of daily life. It is not the loud voice of logic or the rigid reasoning of the mind, but a quiet whisper from within, a sensation, a feeling that speaks to us in moments when we least expect it. This inner feeling is more than just emotion, it is the guiding force of our intuition, the essence of our soul's wisdom, and the key to understanding the deeper truths of our existence. At the heart of this inner feeling lies the concept of knowing without knowing. Have you ever had an inexplicable sense about a decision, a person, or a situation that seemed to defy rational explanation? Perhaps you found yourself drawn to a particular path, or avoiding something, even though your mind couldn't articulate why. This is your inner feeling at work. It's the bridge between your conscious awareness and the vast, untapped intelligence of your subconscious mind, which is constantly processing information, much of which you are not even aware of. Trusting in these feelings is akin to listening to the wisdom of your deepest self, the part of you that is connected to something greater than your immediate surroundings. Yet in modern society, we are often taught to suppress or dismiss these inner sensations in favor of logic and external validation. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that decisions must be based on facts, figures, and tangible evidence. We are trained to trust our minds over our hearts, and to value intellectual reasoning over the subtle nudges of our instincts. But in doing so, we lose touch with the very source of guidance that can lead us toward our highest potential. So, when we ignore our inner feeling, we disconnect from the essence of who we truly are, and from the greater flow of life. What many fail to realize is that this inner feeling is a direct expression of our creative power. When we trust it, we align ourselves with the natural rhythms of the universe. In moments of clarity, when we act on this deep sense of knowing, we step into a state of flow, where everything seems to fall into place effortlessly. It is as though the universe conspires in our favor, guiding us toward the people, opportunities, and experiences that are meant for us. This is not coincidence, it is the result of living in harmony with the inner forces that shape our reality. The challenge for many is that the inner feeling often contradicts what seems logical or practical on the surface. It might urge us to take risks, to step into the unknown, or to pursue something that defies conventional wisdom. Yet it is in these moments that true transformation happens. By honoring the power of our inner feeling, we open ourselves to infinite possibilities that our minds alone could never comprehend. This feeling transcends the limitations of the physical world and taps into the realm of potential, where our dreams and desires already exist, waiting to be realized. The power of inner feeling is a reminder that we are more than our minds. We are multidimensional beings, capable of accessing wisdom beyond what we can see or explain. To trust this inner knowing is to reclaim our inherent power as creators of our own reality. It is to live in alignment with our highest purpose, knowing that the universe will always support those who listen to the whispers of their soul. When you learn to trust this feeling, you step into a life of flow, abundance, and fulfillment, a life guided by the deeper truths within you. Imagination is often regarded as a fanciful escape, something separate from reality. We are told that imagining is for dreamers, while reality belongs to the practical and logical. Yet this common perception overlooks a profound truth. Imagination is not merely a mental exercise, it is the very foundation of reality. What we imagine has the potential to shape our experiences, influence our circumstances, and create the world we live in. When we truly understand the power of imagination, we realize that it is not a passive activity, but an active force of creation. Everything that exists in the physical world first existed in the realm of imagination. Every invention, work of art, or breakthrough began as a thought, a vision, a possibility in someone's mind. The chair you sit on, the buildings we occupy, the technology we use, all of these were once ideas. Through the power of imagination, they were brought into form. This is a testament to the fact that imagination precedes physical reality. It is the birthplace of creation, where the seeds of the future are planted. But the power of imagination is not limited to inventors, artists, or great thinkers. It is a tool available to all of us, shaping our personal realities in ways both subtle and profound. Our inner world, the thoughts and images we dwell on, directly influences the life we experience. If we continuously imagine lack, struggle, or limitation, these mental images begin to manifest as our reality. Conversely, when we fill our minds with visions of abundance, joy, and success, we set the stage for those experiences to unfold. Imagination, then, is not a separate reality, it is the underlying force that gives birth to what we see and live. One of the most significant aspects of imagination is its ability to transcend the present moment. While our senses are bound by what is happening in the here and now, imagination allows us to step beyond the confines of time and space. We can picture a future different from our current circumstances, and in doing so, we begin to align with that vision. This is not mere fantasy, it is the creative process at work. By imagining a desired outcome with clarity and emotion, we activate the subconscious mind, which then works in harmony with the universe to bring about the circumstances, people, and opportunities necessary for that vision to come to life. It is important to recognize that imagination is a form of belief. When you imagine something vividly enough, you begin to believe in its possibility. And belief is a powerful force. For what we believe, we tend to manifest. If you believe, even unconsciously, that you are unworthy of success or happiness, your outer world will reflect that belief. But if you use your imagination to create a vision of yourself as successful, joyful, and fulfilled, your subconscious mind begins to accept that as truth. As a result, your actions, decisions, and energy start to align with this new belief, attracting experiences that confirm it. The challenge for many of us is that we often use our imagination destructively without realizing it. We worry, we fear, we imagine worst-case scenarios, and then we wonder why life seems difficult. But this is simply imagination at work, creating a negative reality based on negative mental images. The key is to become conscious of how we are using this powerful tool and to direct it toward what we truly desire. Imagination, when used consciously and positively, becomes the architect of our lives. Imagination is reality in its most essential form. It is the creative force that shapes our experiences, whether we are aware of it or not. To harness its power is to take control of the direction of our lives. By consciously imagining the life we wish to live, we are not escaping reality, we are shaping it. We are aligning ourselves with the limitless possibilities of the universe and stepping into the role of creators, bringing forth the experiences, people, and circumstances that mirror the visions in our minds. Faith in your inner voice is one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, tools for navigating life's uncertainties. This inner voice, often referred to as intuition, is the subtle guidance that comes from within, a knowing that transcends the intellect, logic, and external opinions. It is deeply personal and often quiet, but it carries profound wisdom. Learning to trust and have faith in this voice is the key to living a life aligned with your true purpose, even when the path forward seems unclear or unconventional. At its core, the inner voice is your connection to your higher self, the part of you that exists beyond the surface level of thought and analysis. While the mind may operate in terms of fear, doubt, and rational calculation, your inner voice speaks from a place of deeper wisdom, rooted in the awareness of your soul's desires and the direction in which your life is meant to unfold. This voice doesn't shout, it whispers. It nudges you through feelings, subtle inclinations, and gut instincts, urging you to take certain actions or avoid certain paths. And though it may not always make logical sense in the moment, it carries with it an unshakable sense of truth. The challenge is that we are often conditioned to prioritize external sources of authority over our inner knowing. We are taught to rely on societal norms, the opinions of others, and even our analytical mind when making decisions. In doing so, we frequently override our inner voice, dismissing it as irrational or unfounded. However, when we ignore this inner guidance, we may find ourselves making decisions that lead us further away from our true desires, leaving us feeling disconnected, frustrated, or unfulfilled. Faith in your inner voice requires a willingness to listen to that deep sense of knowing, even when it defies logic or challenges the expectations placed upon you by others. Trusting this inner guidance is an act of faith, because it requires you to move forward without always having concrete evidence or certainty. It asks you to step into the unknown, to take risks, and to believe that even when the way ahead is unclear, your inner voice will lead you in the right direction. This faith is not blind optimism, but an acknowledgement that there is a part of you that is inherently connected to something greater, a universal intelligence that orchestrates the unfolding of life in ways that are often beyond the comprehension of the rational mind. When you cultivate faith in your inner voice, you begin to notice that life flows more smoothly. You make decisions with greater ease, and opportunities arise seemingly out of nowhere, as if the universe itself is aligning to support your path. You experience synchronicities, those moments when everything just seems to click into place, and you feel a sense of peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. This is because your inner voice is always guiding you toward what is meant for you. It is the compass that points you in the direction of your highest good, even if the road there is not always straightforward. Having faith in your inner voice does not mean that you will never encounter challenges or doubts. There will be moments when fear creeps in, when the mind questions the validity of your intuition, or when external circumstances seem to contradict your inner knowing. In these moments, faith becomes even more important. It is the anchor that keeps you grounded, reminding you to trust the process and to trust yourself. Over time, as you repeatedly act on your inner voice and see the results unfold, your faith will strengthen. You will begin to recognize that this voice is never wrong. It simply operates from a perspective that sees beyond the immediate present, understanding the broader picture of your life's journey. Faith in your inner voice is about cultivating a deep sense of trust in yourself and in the wisdom that resides within. It is the realization that you already possess everything you need to navigate life's twists and turns. All you have to do is listen, trust, and take action based on that quiet, powerful knowing. Creation is the understanding that you are not merely a passive observer of life, but an active participant in shaping your reality. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, and every emotion you feel contributes to the world you experience. Whether we realize it or not, we are constantly creating. The difference lies in whether we are doing so unconsciously, driven by habits, fears, and societal conditioning, or consciously, with deliberate intention, clarity, and awareness of the outcomes we wish to manifest. At the core of conscious creation is the idea that your inner world, your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions creates your outer reality. What you focus on mentally and emotionally is what you attract and bring into your life. This concept is not just about wishful thinking or positive affirmations. It's about understanding the power of your consciousness to influence the experiences that unfold before you. The law of attraction, popularized in recent years, is a reflection of this truth, like attracts like. When you consciously focus on what you desire with clarity and belief, you set the wheels in motion for that reality to come into being. Conscious creation requires more than just wanting something. It involves aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions with the reality you wish to create. You cannot simply desire success while simultaneously believing that you are unworthy of it. Such conflicting energies cancel each other out, making it difficult for your desires to manifest. Conscious creation means becoming aware of these inner contradictions and doing the work to harmonize your thoughts and emotions with your desired outcome. This requires self-awareness, reflection, and the willingness to shift limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. One of the key aspects of conscious creation is the role of intention. Intentions are the guiding force behind what you choose to create in your life. When you set an intention with clarity and conviction, you direct your energy toward that goal. Without a clear intention, your creative power becomes scattered, leading to mixed results. Conscious creation is about being specific and deliberate about what you want, but also remaining open to the form in which it arrives. Often the universe delivers in ways that are beyond what we can imagine, but aligned with our highest good. Faith and trust play a vital role in conscious creation. Once you have set a clear intention, there is often a period of waiting or gestation, where the results are not immediately visible. During this time, doubts and fears can arise, causing you to question whether your efforts are working. Conscious creation requires trust in the process. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, your desires take time to manifest in the physical world. Trust that the universe is aligning circumstances in your favor, and resist the urge to give up or revert to old patterns of thinking. Another important element of conscious creation is action. While visualization and intention are powerful, they must be complemented by inspired action. This is not about forcing or controlling outcomes, but rather taking steps that are aligned with your desires. When you are in tune with your inner guidance, the right actions will feel natural and effortless, as if you are being led toward your goal. Conscious creation is a co-creative process between you and the universe. It requires both internal alignment and external action. Conscious creation calls for detachment from specific outcomes. While it is important to have a clear vision of what you desire, it's equally important to remain flexible and open to how that vision manifests. Sometimes the universe has a grander plan than you can imagine, and the form your desire takes may be different from what you initially envisioned. By trusting the process and releasing attachment to specific details, you allow for greater possibilities to emerge. Creation is about reclaiming your power as a creator of your own experience. It is the practice of living with awareness, intention, and faith, knowing that you are an active participant in shaping the reality you encounter. Through conscious creation, you move from a place of victimhood, where life happens to you, to a place of empowerment, where life happens through you. The divine timing of instinct is a concept that recognizes the perfect synchronicity between our inner guidance and the unfolding events in our lives. While we may often want things to happen immediately, instinct operates according to a timing that is beyond our control, yet always in alignment with our highest good. It is the gentle reminder that life has a rhythm, a flow, and that our instincts come to us exactly when we need them, neither too early nor too late. Instinct is a deep, intuitive knowing that arises from within us, often without a clear reason or explanation. It nudges us toward decisions, actions, or changes that may not make immediate sense to our rational mind. However, it is connected to a wisdom that understands far more than our conscious mind can grasp. The timing of these instincts is not random, it is intricately tied to the unfolding of our life's journey, guiding us to take the right steps at the right time. We live in a world that values speed, efficiency, and instant results. This can lead to frustration when our instincts point us in a direction that doesn't yield immediate outcomes, or when they prompt us to wait when we feel we should be acting. However, divine timing reminds us that everything has its season, and instinct is attuned to the natural rhythms of the universe. There are times when waiting, even when it feels uncomfortable, is the most aligned action we can take. It allows the right circumstances, people, and opportunities to fall into place in ways we couldn't have orchestrated ourselves. There are moments when instinct urges us to act swiftly, to seize an opportunity or make a leap of faith even when we don't feel ready. This is another aspect of divine timing. When an instinct arises strongly, it is because the universe is aligning to support that action. It may feel like a risk, but in truth, it is the right time for that decision, and delaying it out of fear or hesitation may cause us to miss a significant opportunity. Divine timing is not just about waiting, it's about trusting that your instincts know when to move and when to pause. Trusting in the divine timing of instinct also means accepting that things may not unfold in the way or within the timeline we expect. There may be delays, detours, or unexpected challenges along the way, but these two are part of the greater plan. Sometimes our instincts lead us toward experiences that don't immediately make sense, but in hindsight we realize they were preparing us for something greater. The people we meet, the lessons we learn, and the skills we develop along the way all contribute to the bigger picture of our lives. Divine timing ensures that these experiences come together in perfect harmony, even if we can't see the full pattern in the moment. To truly align with the divine timing of instinct, we must cultivate patience and trust. Patience because not everything will happen when we think it should, and trust because our instincts are connected to a higher intelligence that knows what is best for us. By surrendering to this timing, we release the need to control every outcome and instead allow life to unfold naturally. This doesn't mean being passive or idle, but rather being attuned to the signals from within and acting in harmony with the flow of life. The divine timing of instinct is a reminder that we are co-creators with the universe. While we can set intentions, make plans, and take action, there is also a greater force at work that knows the perfect timing for our desires to manifest. By trusting our instincts and the timing in which they arise, we align ourselves with the greater rhythm of life and allow our path to unfold in ways that are often more magical and fulfilling than we could have imagined. Manifestation through awareness is the process of consciously bringing into reality what you desire by cultivating a deep understanding of your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. It is the recognition that your inner state directly influences your external experiences. The power to manifest lies not in mere wishful thinking, but in being fully aware of how your consciousness shapes the world around you. By becoming aware of the patterns in your thinking and the energy you radiate, you can intentionally direct your focus toward the outcomes you seek, transforming your life from the inside out. Awareness is the foundation of manifestation because it allows you to observe and understand the workings of your mind. Many of us operate on autopilot, reacting to life based on subconscious programming and limiting beliefs that we may not even be aware of. These hidden beliefs and thought patterns can block the very things we desire from coming into our lives. For example, if you want to manifest abundance, but carry an unconscious belief that you are undeserving of success, that belief will create resistance, preventing the manifestation of prosperity. Awareness, however, gives you the power to identify and shift these limiting beliefs, replacing them with empowering thoughts that align with your desires. When you become aware of your thoughts and emotions, you can consciously choose where to direct your energy. Manifestation is closely tied to the energy you emit, as light attracts like. If you consistently dwell on negative thoughts, fear or lack, you will attract experiences that mirror those feelings. But when you raise your awareness and focus on positive emotions, such as gratitude, love, and abundance, you draw more of those experiences into your life. This is not just about thinking happy thoughts, it's about cultivating a mindset, an emotional state that is in harmony with what you want to create. Another crucial aspect of manifestation through awareness is mindfulness in the present moment. Often we get so focused on the future, worrying about outcomes or wishing for something to happen, that we lose sight of the power we have in the here and now. Manifestation happens in the present moment, not in some distant future. By being fully aware of the present, you align yourself with the flow of life, and this alignment makes it easier for the things you desire to manifest. When you are present and mindful, you notice opportunities, synchronicities, and subtle nudges from the universe that guide you toward your goals. Awareness also helps you to become attuned to the vibrational frequency of your desires. Everything in the universe operates on a frequency, and your thoughts and emotions emit vibrations that either align with or resist the things you want to manifest. When you are aware of the frequency you are vibrating at, whether it is one of scarcity or abundance, you can consciously shift it to match the frequency of what you want to attract. This alignment creates a harmonious resonance between you and your desires, accelerating the process of manifestation. One of the greatest challenges in manifestation is the tendency to focus on what's missing rather than on what's possible. Awareness helps you break this cycle by bringing your attention to what you already have and cultivating a sense of gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, helping you to recognize the blessings in your life and creating a positive energy field that attracts more of what you appreciate. This simple yet profound shift in awareness can transform your reality. Manifestation through awareness requires patience and trust in the process. When you are aware of your thoughts, emotions, and the subtle shifts in your external world, you begin to understand that manifestation is a journey, not an instant result. Some desires take time to unfold, and your awareness will help you recognize that even delays or obstacles are part of the process. They often serve as opportunities for growth or redirection, guiding you to something even better than you initially imagined. Manifestation through awareness is about aligning your inner world with the reality you wish to create. It is a process of self-discovery and conscious focus, where you take responsibility for the thoughts and emotions that shape your life. By cultivating awareness, you become a deliberate creator, empowered to manifest a life that reflects your deepest desires and highest potential. In conclusion, the power to shape our reality lies within each of us, through the alignment of our thoughts, beliefs, and instincts with our higher purpose. By trusting our inner voice, harnessing the creative power of our imagination, and embracing the divine timing of life, we can consciously create the life we desire. Awareness is the key to unlocking this potential, allowing us to manifest our dreams by aligning our inner world with the outer world we wish to experience. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share a truth as ancient as creation itself, a truth that has the power to transform your life. Private life always wins. What do I mean by this? I mean that the thoughts you keep, the emotions you cultivate, and the visions you cherish in the privacy of your mind are the silent architects of your entire experience. The world we live in is not merely a collection of random events and external circumstances, it is a reflection of the inner landscapes of our imagination. Often we are taught to believe that what we see, hear, and experience outwardly is the ultimate reality. Yet the truth is far more profound. It is our inner world of imagination that holds the power to create and shape the physical reality we encounter each day. This understanding is the key to transforming our lives. The imagination is not just a fanciful escape or a tool for daydreams, it is the very foundation upon which our experiences are built. Every moment of our lives, whether we are aware of it or not, we are imagining. In those quiet moments when we envision a future for ourselves, replay past events, or dwell on certain emotions, we are setting the stage for what is to come. The outer world is nothing more than the manifestation of the inner world, and the imagination is the engine that drives this process. When we talk about imagination as the source of reality, we are not referring to idle fantasies or wishful thinking. We are talking about a focused, conscious use of the mind's ability to create images and scenarios that align with our desires. When you deliberately imagine yourself in a particular state, whether it is successful, healthy, or happy, you are laying the foundation for that state to materialize in your life. It is not about mere hoping or passive wishing, it is about assuming that your imagined reality is already true, living in that assumption internally, and allowing it to be expressed outwardly in due time. The power of imagination lies in its ability to alter our consciousness. When we assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we are essentially reprogramming our subconscious mind to accept a new reality. Our subconscious does not argue with us, nor does it question what is real or not. It simply accepts what we consistently imagine as truth. Over time, this truth, held firmly in our imagination, begins to shape our actions, reactions, and even the people and circumstances we encounter. The world responds to the images we hold in our minds because our imagination is the source of all creation. Consider this: every invention, every great work of art, every scientific breakthrough, and every significant achievement throughout history began as an idea in someone's mind. The greatest creators, thinkers, and visionaries were those who understood the importance of their private inner world. They knew that what they imagined consistently would eventually manifest in the external world. They acted from a place of certainty, knowing that the invisible is just as real, if not more real, than the visible. In our everyday lives, we can use this principle to bring about the changes we seek. If there is something you desire to achieve or experience, begin by imagining it in vivid detail. See yourself as already being the person you want to become. Feel the emotions that would accompany the fulfillment of your desire. The more real you make it in your imagination, the more powerfully it will be expressed in your physical reality. Do not concern yourself with how or when it will happen. That is not your job. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that it has already happened, and reality will take care of the rest. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that they must see changes in their external circumstances before they can believe in the power of imagination. But this is like waiting for a fire to burn before lighting the match. The change must begin within. When you realize that your imagination is the source of all that you experience, you reclaim your power as the creator of your life. What you imagine consistently, with feeling and belief, will become your reality. Imagination always precedes creation. What you envision in your mind will unfold in your life. The power of assumption is one of the most profound and transformative forces available to each of us. At its core, it is the idea that whatever we assume to be true in our minds will eventually become true in our lives. This concept rests on the belief that our inner thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions shape the reality we experience. It's not merely about wishful thinking or passive hoping. It is about deliberately choosing what to assume and holding on to that assumption with conviction until it manifests in the external world. Every one of us lives by assumptions, whether we are aware of it or not. From the moment we wake up, we assume things about ourselves, our day, our relationships, and our future. These assumptions, conscious or unconscious, create a framework for how we experience life. The person who assumes they will be successful and live a fulfilling life approaches the world with a different energy, attitude, and confidence than the person who assumes failure or defeat. In both cases, those assumptions have a powerful influence on how events unfold. The beauty of the power of assumption is that it gives us a direct role in the creation of our reality. Instead of passively reacting to life, we can become active creators by consciously choosing what we assume to be true. When you hold a specific assumption in your mind, it begins to shape your thoughts, feelings, and actions, which in turn influences the circumstances you encounter. If you assume that good things are always happening for you, your mind will naturally gravitate toward opportunities and solutions that support that assumption. Conversely, if you assume that life is full of struggle, your mind will fixate on problems and obstacles, reinforcing that belief. To harness the power of assumption, the key is to act as if what you desire is already true. This doesn't mean pretending or lying to yourself. It means adopting the feeling of your wish fulfilled and living from that state internally. For example, if you desire to be in a happy relationship, assume that you are already in one. Feel the emotions of love, joy, and companionship as if they are already a part of your daily experience. The more you assume this state, the more natural it becomes, and soon your external world will begin to reflect that inner assumption. The subconscious mind plays a critical role in this process. It does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. Whatever you persistently assume is taken as fact by the subconscious, and it works to bring that assumption into physical form. This is why persistence is so important. You cannot assume something for a day or two and expect immediate results. It requires faith and unwavering belief in the truth of your assumption, even when your current circumstances might suggest otherwise. The person who masters the power of assumption understands that they are not bound by their current reality. They know that everything in life is fluid and changeable, and that by assuming a new reality in their mind, they can bring about its physical counterpart. It's important to realize that this is not about forcing change or trying to manipulate circumstances. Rather, it's about aligning your inner state with the reality you desire, knowing that the outer world will inevitably conform to that inner state. Many people struggle because they assume limitations instead of possibilities. They assume they are not good enough, that they will never achieve their dreams, or that life is inherently difficult. these negative assumptions create a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the moment you change your assumptions, you change your life. By assuming success, health, abundance, or love, and holding on to those assumptions with faith, you begin to attract experiences that align with those positive states. The power of assumption is simple yet incredibly profound. It reminds us that we are not victims of circumstances, but creators of them. By consciously choosing our assumptions and persisting in them, we can transform our reality from the inside out. What we assume to be true, over time, becomes true. Our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions create the world we live in. Therefore, it is in our best interest to assume the best for ourselves, to persist in those assumptions, and to watch as life rises to meet them. Belief in the unseen is one of the most powerful principles that governs the creation of our lives. It is the understanding that what is invisible, intangible, and beyond our immediate senses holds the key to shaping the visible and tangible aspects of our reality. While the physical world often demands evidence before belief, this principle works in reverse. Belief precedes evidence, and the unseen always gives rise to the seen. Everything that we experience in the physical world has its origin in the invisible realm of thought, imagination, and consciousness. In our daily lives, we are conditioned to trust only what we can perceive, with our senses what we can see, hear, touch, and measure. However, the essence of true creation lies beyond the reach of the senses. The unseen world is the fertile ground from which all things grow. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, though invisible, are the most powerful forces shaping the circumstances of our lives. What we accept as true in our minds, even when there is no physical proof, sets into motion the process by which that truth becomes manifest in our world. Belief in the unseen requires faith, a deep inner conviction that what we desire already exists, even if we cannot yet see it with our physical eyes. Faith is not blind, it is visionary. It is the ability to hold firm to an inner picture, a feeling, or a desired outcome, despite all appearances to the contrary. This kind of belief calls upon us to trust in the creative power of our consciousness, to know that the universe responds to our inner states, and to understand that what is hidden will eventually reveal itself in the physical realm. We see the principle of belief in the unseen in action all around us. Every invention, every innovation, every great accomplishment was once an unseen idea in someone's mind. The inventor of the telephone, the creators of the internet, the pioneers of flight, none of them could rely on evidence from the outside world to support their visions. They had to believe in what was not yet seen. Their belief was the fuel that brought their ideas into form. They persisted in their inner vision until the world conformed to it. In our personal lives, we too must adopt this same mindset. If there is a dream or a goal we seek to achieve, it begins with belief in its possibility, belief in our own ability, and belief that the unseen forces of life are working on our behalf. When we plant the seed of belief in our minds, we are aligning with the creative power of the universe. The key is to persist in this belief, even when circumstances appear to contradict it. The physical world is often slow to reflect our inner state, but if we remain steadfast, the outer world will eventually bend to match our belief. Many people falter because they allow what they see with their eyes to dictate what they believe. They look at their current circumstances, perhaps a lack of money, poor health, or unfulfilling relationships, and they conclude that what they see is all there is. But true power comes from knowing that the current reality is just a reflection of past beliefs and thoughts. To change the outer world, we must first change the inner world, and this requires believing in something greater than what we currently see. Belief in the unseen is not about denying reality. It is about understanding that reality is fluid and changeable. The unseen realm of imagination, thought, and belief is where all change begins. What we hold in our minds with conviction and emotion will, in time, become our experience. The universe responds to the energy we emit through our beliefs, and it is through this energetic alignment that our desires are brought into physical form. Belief in the unseen empowers us to become conscious creators of our lives. When we understand that the unseen is the source of the seen, We are no longer limited by the present circumstances or the conditions of the physical world. We can believe in possibilities beyond what is currently visible and, through that belief, summon new experiences into existence. What is unseen today becomes seen tomorrow, if we persist in our belief and align our thoughts and actions with that unseen vision. Is the only reality. This statement, though simple in its expression, holds profound significance in understanding how our lives unfold. Everything we experience, everything we perceive as reality, originates from our consciousness, the thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and assumptions we hold in our minds. Far from being passive observers in a predetermined world, we are active participants in creating our reality through the lens of our consciousness. What we focus on internally becomes the blueprint for what manifests externally. Most people believe that reality is an external force, something that happens to them independent of their control. They see themselves as victims of circumstances, reacting to events as they arise. But in truth, life is not happening to us, it is happening through us. The world we perceive is a mirror reflecting the state of our consciousness. The thoughts and beliefs we carry shape the circumstances, events, and people we encounter. In other words, the world is not separate from us, it is an extension of our inner state, is the fundamental substance of reality. Everything begins within the mind before it takes shape in the external world. Our personal experiences, relationships, and even the conditions of our lives are expressions of the content of our consciousness. If we hold thoughts of abundance, success, and love, those qualities will appear in our lives. Conversely, if we focus on lack, fear, and limitation, those conditions will materialize. The external world conforms to the inner state of being. That consciousness is the only reality also means recognizing that external changes alone cannot lead to lasting transformation. Many people try to change their lives by altering their circumstances, switching jobs, moving to a new location, or changing their relationships, yet they find that the same patterns repeat themselves. This is because the true cause of those patterns lies within their consciousness, not in the external circumstances. Unless the internal state changes, the outer conditions will continue to reflect the same inner beliefs. To create lasting change in life, we must first change our consciousness. This requires becoming aware of the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that govern our experience. What are we habitually thinking? What assumptions do we hold about ourselves and the world? By examining these inner states, we can begin to shift them in alignment with the reality we desire to experience. This shift in consciousness is the first step in transforming the outer world. The idea that consciousness is the only reality also emphasizes the power of focus. Whatever we consistently dwell on in our minds, we draw into our lives. If we focus on problems, difficulties, and limitations, our reality will reflect those conditions. But if we train our consciousness to focus on solutions, opportunities, and possibilities, the outer world will adjust to match that focus. Our consciousness acts like a magnet, attracting experiences that align with the dominant thoughts and beliefs we hold. This concept is not about denying the external world or pretending that challenges don't exist. Rather, it is about understanding that the root of those challenges and the key to overcoming them lies within. By changing our consciousness, we change how we interact with the world, which in turn changes the world itself. It is a process of inner alignment, where the outer reflects the inner. The idea that consciousness is the only reality highlights our inherent power as creators. We are not at the mercy of random events or external forces. We are the architects of our own experience. The circumstances of life are shaped by what we hold in our minds. This knowledge gives us the freedom to consciously design the reality we wish to live in. Instead of reacting to the world, we can respond from a place of deliberate creation, knowing that our consciousness is the driving force behind what we experience. Embracing the truth that consciousness is the only reality opens up infinite possibilities. It invites us to take responsibility for our inner world and to recognize that our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings are the raw materials from which our reality is shaped. By consciously choosing what we dwell upon and what we believe to be true, we gain the power to create a life that aligns with our deepest desires and aspirations. Mastery over circumstances is the realization that we hold the power to shape our lives, regardless of the external conditions we face. Most people believe that life is dictated by outside forces, luck, fate, or the influence of others. They view themselves as victims of circumstances, reacting to whatever life throws at them. However, true mastery comes from understanding that circumstances are not the cause of our experience, but rather the effect of our inner state of mind. The moment we recognize this, we reclaim control and understand that we are the creators of our own reality. The key to mastering circumstances lies in understanding the relationship between our thoughts, emotions, and external events. The world we experience is a reflection of the inner assumptions we hold. If we assume life is difficult, that assumption will govern our actions and perceptions, leading us to interpret and attract difficulties. On the other hand, if we assume life is full of opportunities, that belief will open our eyes to the possibilities around us and shape our actions towards success. Circumstances do not create our beliefs, it is our beliefs that create circumstances. One of the most powerful ways to achieve mastery over circumstances is by shifting our focus inward rather than outward. Instead of trying to control or manipulate the external world, we must focus on our internal state, our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. By cultivating a mindset of calm, confidence, and clarity, we naturally begin to influence our external environment. The world responds to the energy we emit, and when our inner state is aligned with peace and positivity, the outer world starts to reflect that state. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that they must fix external problems to feel better internally. But this approach is backward. Trying to change circumstances without changing the inner cause is like trying to alter the reflection in a mirror without changing the object that casts it. If we wish to experience different results in our lives, we must first change what is happening within us. The inner shift is what brings about the outer transformation. It is also important to understand that mastery over circumstances does not mean controlling every detail of life or avoiding all challenges. Challenges are a natural part of life, but our ability to navigate them depends on our internal state. A person who has mastered their inner world can face adversity without being overwhelmed by it. They remain rooted in their inner strength, knowing that circumstances are temporary and that their response determines the ultimate outcome. They don't allow external events to dictate their mood or well-being because they know their true power lies within. One of the greatest examples of mastery over circumstances is seen in individuals who have overcome significant obstacles to achieve success. These individuals were not lucky or privileged in some special way. They simply refused to let external conditions determine their fate. Instead, they cultivated an inner belief in their ability to succeed, despite the odds. They persisted in their vision, held firm in their mindset, and eventually shaped their reality to match their inner conviction. They understood that their thoughts and assumptions would eventually bend the external world to align with their desires. Mastery over circumstances also involves the practice of detachment. Detachment is not indifference, but rather the ability to remain unaffected by the highs and lows of life. When we are attached to a specific outcome, we give our power away to external conditions. However, when we remain centered and detached, we maintain control over our inner state, regardless of what happens around us. This does not mean we do not care about outcomes. It means that our sense of peace and self-worth is not dependent on them. But from this place of calm detachment, we can respond more effectively to life's challenges. Mastery over circumstances is about understanding that we are the creators of our reality. Life does not happen to us, it happens through us. By mastering our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, we can shape the circumstances we encounter and turn challenges into opportunities. The outer world is always a reflection of the inner world, and when we learn to master our inner state, we gain true mastery over life itself. The silent creative force is the unseen power that shapes and governs our lives, quietly working beneath the surface of our consciousness. It is the force that brings thoughts, beliefs, and emotions into physical reality, yet it operates without noise or fanfare. Now, unlike the loud distractions of the outer world, this force works invisibly, steadily, and powerfully, creating the circumstances and experiences we encounter every day. Understanding this silent creative force allows us to harness it deliberately, rather than letting it operate unconsciously and shape our lives by default. At the heart of this force is our imagination. Every thought we entertain, every feeling we hold, every assumption we accept is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind. While we may not immediately see the effects of these inner workings, they are constantly shaping our external reality. The silent creative force does not discriminate between positive or negative thoughts. It responds equally to fear as it does to hope, to love as it does to hate. Whatever we focus on consistently becomes the blueprint for the life we experience. Because this creative force is silent, it often goes unnoticed. Many people are unaware that their inner world is shaping their outer world, attributing the events of their lives to luck, fate, or circumstances beyond their control. Yet every outcome, whether desired or undesired, is the result of this inner creative process. The beauty of this realization is that it places the power back in our hands. We do not need to battle against the external world or change others to improve our lives. Instead, we only need to become aware of the silent creative force within us and direct it with intention. The silent nature of this force is also what makes it so effective. It operates beneath our conscious awareness, meaning it doesn't require our constant attention or effort. Once a belief or thought pattern is established in the subconscious, the creative force takes over, working tirelessly to bring that belief into form. This is why persistence is key. Even if we do not immediately see evidence of change, the silent force is at work, aligning circumstances, people, and events to reflect our inner state. Mastering the silent creative force begins with mastering our thoughts and emotions. Every time we entertain a thought, we are giving instructions to this unseen force. If our thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, we will unconsciously create circumstances that mirror those feelings. But if we deliberately focus on thoughts of success, health, love, and abundance, the silent force will bring those experiences into our lives. This is why it is essential to guard our thoughts and cultivate an inner environment that supports the life we want to live. One of the most profound aspects of the silent creative force is that it is always active, whether we are aware of it or not. Even when we are not consciously thinking about our goals or desires, the force continues to work based on the dominant thoughts and beliefs we hold. This means that our habitual thought patterns are crucial. If we allow ourselves to dwell on negativity, we are feeding that into the creative process. But if we make a habit of focusing on what we want, we are directing the silent force toward creating a better reality. The quiet, unseen nature of this force may make it easy to overlook, but it is the most powerful tool we have for shaping our lives. We do not need to shout, struggle, or force things to happen. The silent creative force responds to the calm, steady conviction of our beliefs and assumptions. The more we trust in this process and align our thoughts with what we desire, the more effortlessly life will unfold in our favor. Moreover, the silent creative force operates in harmony with the larger forces of the universe. It is not a battle between us and the world, rather, it is a cooperative process where our inner state aligns with the flow of life. When we understand this, we no longer feel the need to control or micromanage every detail. We can trust that, as long as we are directing our inner world with clarity and intention, the silent creative force will take care of the rest. In essence, this force is the engine behind all creation. It may be invisible, but it is undeniably powerful. By recognizing its presence and consciously directing it, we tap into our true creative potential, allowing us to shape our reality in alignment with our highest desires. In conclusion, the essence of life lies in understanding that we are the creators of our own reality. Through the power of imagination, belief in the unseen, the strength of assumption, and mastery over our inner world, we align with the silent creative force that shapes our experiences. Life doesn't happen to us, we are constantly creating it through our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. By taking responsibility for our inner state and consciously directing our focus, we can transform our circumstances and design a life that reflects our deepest desires. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to talk about something profound, something transformative, the art of trusting God's plan. In a world where we often feel the need to control every outcome, where we seek certainty in an ever-changing reality, the concept of surrendering to a higher power may seem elusive. Yet it is the most powerful stance we can take in life. Imagination is the gateway to creation, the key that unlocks the infinite possibilities of life. It is the unseen force that shapes our experiences and carves the path of our future. When we speak of trusting God's plan, we must first understand that this divine plan is not a rigid script written in the heavens, but rather a dynamic process that unfolds through our imaginations. The thoughts, visions, and images that we consistently hold in our minds are the seeds of creation, and it is through imagination that God's plan is revealed and brought to life. At its core, imagination is not mere fantasy or idle daydreaming. It is the divine faculty within us, the creative power that allows us to transcend the limitations of the physical world and see beyond what is currently visible. Every invention, every breakthrough, and every personal achievement begins with a vision and image in the mind of someone who dared to see something greater than what existed before. Imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the inner world and the outer world. What many fail to recognize is that this power of imagination is not separate from God. In fact, it is through our imagination that we express the divine power within us. The Bible tells us that we are made in the image and likeness of God. This means that we are endowed with the same creative potential that brought the universe into being. When we tap into our imagination with belief and conviction, we are tapping into the very source of creation itself. This is where the true power of imagination lies. It shapes our reality. The world we experience on the outside is a direct reflection of the world we nurture within. If you hold thoughts of abundance, joy, and peace in your mind, you will begin to see those qualities manifest in your life. Conversely, if you dwell on fear, lack, and limitation, those are the very things you will attract. The world does not happen to us, it responds to us. It is a mirror that reflects back the contents of our imagination. Many people go through life believing they are at the mercy of external forces, circumstances, other people, the economy, fate, but this is an illusion. The truth is, the power to shape our destiny lies within us. The images we hold in our minds are the blueprint for our future. It is said, as within, so without what we imagine, we become. What we believe, we attract. God's plan for us is revealed not through random events or chance, but through the pictures we paint in our consciousness. Now, trusting in God's plan means trusting in this process of imagination. It requires us to understand that what we consistently imagine with faith and clarity will eventually become our reality. It may not happen overnight, but rest assured it is happening. Every time you visualize a desired outcome, every time you feel the reality of your wish fulfilled, you are aligning yourself with the divine creative force that is constantly at work. But here's the key: imagination works with feeling. It's not enough to simply visualize a better future or wish for a desired result. You must feel the reality of it in the present moment. You must allow the emotions associated with the fulfillment of your desire to wash over you as though it were already done. This feeling of certainty, of joy, of relief is the catalyst that propels your imagination into form. It is through feeling that imagination becomes faith, and faith is what moves mountains. One of the greatest obstacles to trusting God's plan is doubt. When we allow doubt to creep in, we interrupt the flow of creative energy. We start to second-guess ourselves, thinking, maybe this won't happen, or what if things go wrong? But doubt is simply a misuse of imagination. Instead of imagining the best possible outcome, we begin to imagine the worst. And since the universe responds to the images we project, we end up creating more of what we fear. The antidote to doubt is persistence. We must persist in imagining the good we desire, even when the physical world shows no sign of it yet. Just as a gardener plants seeds and waits patiently for them to grow, we must plant the seeds of our desires in the soil of our imagination and trust that, in time, they will bear fruit. We do not dig up the seed to check on its progress, we water it with faith and nurture it with expectation. Trusting God's plan is about trusting the power of imagination. It is about recognizing that we are co-creators with the divine, and that what we envision with conviction is already on its way to us. By aligning our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with the highest good we can imagine, we align ourselves with the very essence of creation. And in doing so, we step into the flow of God's perfect plan, where all things are possible. To live in the end is to embody the belief that your desired outcome has already been fulfilled, that the goal you seek is already a reality. This concept is one of the most powerful principles in manifesting a life aligned with God's plan, for it is based on the idea that creation is finished and that everything we desire already exists in the spiritual realm. Our task, then, is not to strive for something in the future, but to align ourselves with the state of mind and feeling that we would naturally have if our desires were already realized. At first glance, living in the end might seem counterintuitive. How can we live as if something has already happened when the physical evidence around us suggests otherwise? But herein lies the magic. What we assume to be true in our imagination precedes physical reality. The outer world is a reflection of our inner world, and by living in the end, we are shifting our consciousness to the state of the fulfilled desire, thereby attracting it into our material reality. One of the greatest challenges people face when attempting to live in the end is their attachment to the current circumstances. We often find ourselves trapped by the evidence of our senses, what we see, hear, and touch, and we allow those external conditions to dictate our internal state. If we see lack, we feel lack. If we see failure, we feel defeated. But living in the end requires a complete shift in perspective. It asks us to turn away from what the physical world is showing us and to trust the vision we hold in our imagination. The reality you experience is not fixed, it is shaped by the thoughts and feelings you consistently hold. When you live in the end, you are adopting the mindset that the outcome you desire is not something you are working toward, but something that has already occurred. You are no longer striving, no longer hoping, no longer waiting for some distant event to bring you joy, peace, or fulfillment. Instead, you are being the person you would be if your goal were already achieved. You feel the joy, the peace, the fulfillment now, in the present moment, as if the future has already arrived. This shift in consciousness is not just a mental exercise, it is an emotional transformation. To live in the end means to cultivate the feelings associated with your fulfilled desire. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, imagine how you would feel if you were already wealthy. What kind of peace of mind, security, and freedom would that bring you? Now, instead of waiting for those feelings to come once the money appears, you begin to feel them now. You live with the emotional state of a person who already has what they desire, and in doing so, you draw that reality closer to you. The reason this works is because of the law of assumption. This law states that whatever you assume to be true will eventually become your reality. When you live in the end, you are assuming that your desire has already been fulfilled, and the universe responds to that assumption by aligning circumstances, people, and events to match your internal state. It's important to note that this is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It's about embodying a deeper truth that everything you seek already exists on a spiritual level, and by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are bringing it into your physical experience. Living in the end also means letting go of how your desire will manifest. Too often, we become fixated on the steps or the methods by which we think our goals should unfold. But when we live in the end, we surrender the how to God, trusting that the divine plan will bring about our desired outcome in the most perfect and effortless way. Our job is not to control the process, but to maintain the state of being that corresponds to our fulfilled desire. We must trust that the higher intelligence that governs the universe knows the best and most efficient way to bring our vision into reality. This principle requires faith and persistence. Living in the end doesn't mean that doubt or challenges won't arise. There will be times when the physical world contradicts the inner vision you hold. But in those moments you must remain steadfast. You must continue to live in the end, even when there is no physical evidence to support your belief. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the invisible force that bridges the gap between the spiritual and the physical. To live in the end is to make a bold declaration to the universe that you trust the power of God within you to bring your desires to fruition. It is an act of faith, an act of conviction, and an act of conviction, and an act of surrender. When you live as if your wish has already been fulfilled, you are aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. You are stepping into the reality where your desires are not something you chase, but something you embody. And in that state of being, you open the door for your greatest visions to become your lived experience. Faith and persistence are foundational elements in the journey of manifesting our desires and trusting God's plan for our lives. In a world filled with distractions, uncertainties, and setbacks, maintaining unwavering faith in our dreams and the commitment to see them through is essential. It is through faith and persistence that we not only align ourselves with our highest aspirations, but also tap into the divine flow that guides us toward their realization. At its core, faith is the deep-seated belief that something greater than ourselves is at work, guiding us toward our intended outcome. It is the assurance that the universe has our back and that our desires are on their way, even if they are not yet visible in our physical reality. Faith is not a passive state of mind, it is an active choice to trust in the unseen and to believe in possibilities beyond what we can currently perceive. When we cultivate faith, we embrace the idea that we are co-creators with God and that our thoughts and feelings are instrumental in shaping our experiences. One of the most powerful aspects of faith is its ability to transform our perception of reality. When we believe in the fulfillment of our desires, we begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Challenges become stepping stones rather than barriers, and setbacks are viewed as temporary detours on our path to success. This shift in perspective allows us to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience, knowing that every experience, no matter how difficult, is contributing to our growth and ultimately leading us closer to our goals. Faith alone is not enough. To bring our desires into manifestation, we must also embody persistence. Persistence is the unwavering commitment to keep moving forward, even when faced with challenges, doubt, or discouragement. It is the resolve to continue taking action in alignment with our goals, regardless of the circumstances. Persistence is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up along the way. It is the steadfast determination to maintain our focus and enthusiasm, even when the path seems unclear. Of manifesting our desires, we may encounter moments of doubt or uncertainty. These moments are natural and part of the human experience. However, it is during these times that our faith and persistence are put to the test. We may find ourselves asking questions like, is this really meant for me? Or what if I fail? But it is crucial to remember that doubt is simply a part of the journey and not an indication of our ultimate outcome. By cultivating faith, we can navigate these doubts with confidence, understanding that they do not define our potential. Persistence requires a certain mindset, a willingness to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Each setback can be reframed as a lesson, a chance to refine our approach, and a reminder to stay true to our vision. By developing this mindset, we foster resilience and tenacity, which are essential qualities for anyone pursuing their dreams. Persistence encourages us to keep our eyes on the prize and to trust that every effort, no matter how small, is contributing to our ultimate success. It is also important to recognize that faith and persistence often go hand in hand. When we persist in our efforts, we are reinforcing our faith in the process. Each action we take is an affirmation of our belief in the outcome. Conversely, when we experience moments of doubt, it is our faith that encourages us to keep going. Together, faith and persistence create a powerful synergy that propels us toward our goals. The journey of faith and persistence is not meant to be traveled alone. Surrounding ourselves with supportive communities, mentors, and like-minded individuals can bolster our faith and inspire us to persist. Sharing our dreams and struggles with others can provide us with encouragement, perspective, and accountability. When we see others pursuing their goals with unwavering faith and determination, we are reminded of our own potential and the power of collective support. As we navigate the path of our desires, let us embrace faith and persistence as our guiding lights. Let us cultivate an unshakable belief in our ability to manifest our dreams and a relentless commitment to see them through, no matter the challenges we encounter. By doing so, we not only align ourselves with the divine plan, but also become beacons of inspiration for others. Trusting in the process, we will find that our faith and persistence are rewarded with the fulfillment of our desires, leading us to a life rich with purpose, joy, and abundance. In this dance of faith and persistence, we discover our true potential as co-creators with the divine, manifesting the life we envision with unwavering confidence and determination. The concept of God's plan can often feel distant or disconnected from our personal desires and aspirations. Many of us view God's plan as an external force, a predetermined script we must follow. However, a profound understanding emerges when we recognize that God's plan is not separate from us. It is deeply intertwined with our own. Embracing this idea allows us to see that our desires, dreams, and the essence of who we are part of a larger divine tapestry, one that we co-create through our thoughts, feelings, and actions. At the heart of this realization is the understanding that we are made in the image and likeness of the divine. This means that we possess the same creative potential as the Creator. Our thoughts are not just fleeting ideas, they are powerful energies that shape our reality. When we align our thoughts and desires with the divine essence within us, we begin to see that our individual aspirations are a reflection of a higher purpose. Rather than perceiving our desires as self-serving or separate from God's will, we can understand them as part of the divine plan unfolding through us. That God's plan is as much our own encourages a sense of ownership over our lives. It empowers us to take an active role in shaping our destinies. We no longer wait passively for signs or directions. Instead, we become intentional creators of our experiences. When we trust that our desires stem from a place of divine inspiration, we gain clarity and motivation to pursue them. We begin to understand that the yearning we feel within us is not random, it is the voice of our higher self, urging us to step into our purpose. This empowerment comes with the responsibility. If we are co-creators of our reality, we must take care to nurture our thoughts and feelings consciously. Each moment presents an opportunity to align ourselves with the divine. We can choose thoughts that elevate us and foster a sense of connection to our true selves. In doing so, we honor both our individual desires and the greater plan that encompasses us. This alignment requires us to cultivate self-awareness and to become discerning about the beliefs we hold. We must ask ourselves, are my thoughts serving my highest good? Do they reflect the abundant life I desire? Living with the understanding that God's plan is our own also invites us to embrace surrender. This does not mean relinquishing our desires, but rather trusting that we are supported in their manifestation. When we surrender to the flow of divine guidance, we let go of the need to control every outcome. We recognize that the universe is constantly working in our favor, even when we cannot see the way forward. By releasing our attachment to how and when our desires will manifest, we open ourselves to receive unexpected blessings and opportunities. This surrender cultivates a sense of peace, allowing us to navigate challenges with grace. Viewing God's plan as our own encourages us to serve others. Our individual journeys are not just for our benefit, they are part of a collective experience. When we follow our passions and pursue our dreams, we inspire those around us. Our success can ignite the flames of possibility in others, reminding them that their dreams are valid and attainable. By sharing our gifts and talents, we contribute to the greater good, amplifying the divine plan in action. The interconnectedness of our desires and God's plan fosters a deep sense of gratitude. When we recognize that our aspirations are not separate from a higher purpose, we become more appreciative of the journey. We begin to see the synchronicities, the little signs, and the moments of grace that affirm we are on the right path. Each step we take becomes a testament to our faith, a reflection of the divine at work in our lives. Embracing the idea that God's plan is as much our own requires a shift in mindset, a transition from a limited, individual perspective to a broader, expansive understanding of our place in the universe. It invites us to trust in the divine timing of our lives, knowing that everything unfolds in perfect harmony. We realize that our life's journey is a collaborative masterpiece, where our dreams, actions, and the divine weave together to create something extraordinary. As we align with God's plan, we unlock our true potential and experience the profound joy of living authentically, fully embracing our role as co-creators in the grand tapestry of life. We come to understand that in trusting God's plan, we are not surrendering our individuality, we are celebrating it, recognizing that our unique desires and dreams are integral to the beautiful design of the universe. In this realization, we find peace, purpose, and a deep sense of fulfillment that resonates throughout our lives. The law of assumption is a powerful principle that highlights the idea that our beliefs and assumptions shape our reality. At its core, this law posits that whatever we assume to be true, whether positive or negative, will manifest in our lives. Our assumptions create a lens through which we interpret our experiences, and ultimately they dictate the course of our lives. By understanding and applying this law, we can transform our perceptions and actively participate in the creation of our desired reality. To grasp the law of assumption, one must first recognize the significant role that consciousness plays in our lives. Consciousness is not merely a passive state, it is an active force that shapes our experiences. Every thought we entertain, every belief we hold, and every assumption we make contributes to the fabric of our reality. This means that if we want to change our circumstances, we must begin by changing our inner dialogue. We have the power to create a new narrative and to assume the qualities we wish to embody. The law of assumption works on the premise that the subconscious mind accepts as true whatever we impress upon it. This means that when we consistently affirm a particular assumption, our subconscious begins to align with that belief. For example, if you assume that you are deserving of love and success, your subconscious will work to manifest those qualities in your life. Conversely, if you harbor assumptions of inadequacy or unworthiness, those beliefs will also manifest as your reality. Therefore, it becomes crucial to consciously choose the assumptions we want to cultivate, as they hold the key to our transformation. A vital aspect of the law of assumption is the emotional component that accompanies our beliefs. It is not enough to simply state an affirmation or to recite a desired outcome. We must feel the reality of our assumption as though it has already come to pass. This feeling of belief is what activates the creative forces within us. When we assume a state of being, we must embody the emotions and sensations associated with that state. For instance, if we wish to manifest abundance, we must cultivate feelings of gratitude, joy, and fulfillment, as if we are already experiencing that abundance. By doing so, we align our inner world with our desired reality, allowing it to flow into our lives. Living in the end is a crucial aspect of the law of assumption. This means that instead of waiting for our desires to manifest, we must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This approach requires us to visualize our desired outcomes vividly and to immerse ourselves in the emotions that accompany those outcomes. By adopting the mentality that our desires have already been realized, we shift our energy and vibration, making it easier for the universe to bring our dreams into fruition. Another key element of the law of assumption is the idea of persistence. It is important to remain steadfast in our assumptions, even in the face of contrary evidence. The external world may not always reflect our desired reality immediately, but our faith and conviction are crucial in the process of manifestation. When doubts arise, we must reaffirm our assumptions and redirect our focus toward the desired outcome. This persistence reinforces our belief in the possibility of our assumptions becoming reality and strengthens our alignment with the creative forces of the universe. The law of assumption also invites us to take responsibility for our experiences. Rather than viewing ourselves as victims of circumstance, we recognize that we are active participants in our reality. This shift in perspective empowers us to take control of our lives, allowing us to make conscious choices that align with our desires. By taking ownership of our assumptions, we reclaim our power and embrace the role of creator. Furthermore, understanding the law of assumption can lead to profound shifts in our relationships with others. When we assume the best in others, we invite those qualities to emerge. For example, if we assume that our loved ones are supportive and kind, we create an environment where those qualities can flourish. Conversely, if we hold negative assumptions about others, we may inadvertently bring about conflict or misunderstanding. By applying the law of assumption to our interactions, we foster more positive and harmonious relationships. The law of assumption serves as a reminder that our thoughts and beliefs shape our reality. By consciously choosing the assumptions we entertain, we can transform our lives in meaningful ways. The key lies in our ability to feel the reality of our assumptions, to live as if our desires are already fulfilled, and to persist in our beliefs despite external circumstances. Through this practice, we become active creators of our reality, harnessing the power of the law of assumption to manifest our dreams and to align with our highest selves. In doing so, we can lead lives rich with purpose, joy, and abundance, fully realizing the potential that lies within each of us. The inner feeling of peace is one of the most profound states of being we can cultivate. In a world filled with distractions, chaos, and uncertainty, finding this sense of tranquility within ourselves can often feel like a daunting challenge. Yet it is essential to understand that this inner peace is not dependent on external circumstances. Rather, it is a state of mind and a reflection of our inner landscape. Cultivating this peace can lead to profound changes in our lives, fostering resilience, clarity, and a deeper connection to ourselves and the world around us. At its core, inner peace is characterized by a deep sense of contentment and acceptance. It is the ability to remain grounded, even amidst the storms of life. This state of being allows us to navigate challenges with grace, respond thoughtfully to stressors, and cultivate a sense of balance and harmony within. When we experience inner peace, we become less reactive to external pressures, allowing us to engage with life from a place of calmness and centeredness. This tranquility not only enhances our well-being but also positively influences those around us, creating a ripple effect of peace in our relationships and communities. To cultivate this inner feeling of peace, it is essential to develop self-awareness. Self-awareness involves recognizing our thoughts, emotions, and patterns of behavior without judgment. By becoming aware of our internal landscape, we can identify what disrupts our peace and take steps to address it. For instance, negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, and unresolved emotional conflicts can all create inner turmoil. By acknowledging these patterns, we empower ourselves to make conscious choices that promote a more peaceful state of mind. Meditation and mindfulness practices are powerful tools for fostering inner peace. These practices encourage us to slow down, connect with our breath, and anchor ourselves in the present moment. Through meditation, we can observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them. This detachment allows us to cultivate a sense of calm and clarity, reducing the noise of our busy minds. Mindfulness, on the other hand, invites us to engage fully with our experiences, whether mundane or extraordinary. By being present, we cultivate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the here and now, further enhancing our inner sense of peace. Another important aspect of nurturing inner peace is the practice of self-compassion. Often we can be our harshest critics, allowing feelings of guilt, shame, or inadequacy to disrupt our tranquility. By treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, we create an environment conducive to peace. This means acknowledging our imperfections, forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, and recognizing that we are deserving of love and acceptance. Self-compassion helps us to cultivate a nurturing inner dialogue, promoting emotional well-being and fostering a sense of peace. Creating a harmonious environment also contributes to our inner peace. The spaces we inhabit can greatly influence our mental state. Surrounding ourselves with beauty, order, and positive energy can create a sanctuary that supports our quest for tranquility. This could involve decluttering our physical spaces, decorating with items that bring joy, or even spending time in nature. Nature has a unique ability to instill peace within us, as it invites us to slow down and reconnect with the rhythms of life. Whether it's a walk in the park, a hike in the mountains, or simply sitting by a body of water, immersing ourselves in nature can help us tap into that inner stillness. Establishing healthy boundaries is crucial in preserving our inner peace. Many of us struggle with saying no or overcommitting ourselves, leading to feelings of overwhelm and stress. By setting boundaries, we protect our energy and create space for what truly matters. This means recognizing our limits and prioritizing self-care. When we honor our needs and commitments, we create a nurturing environment where inner peace can flourish. The journey to inner peace is not linear. It requires patience and dedication. There will be times when external circumstances challenge our tranquility, and it's important to remember that experiencing discomfort is part of the human experience. Instead of resisting these feelings, we can approach them with curiosity and compassion, recognizing them as opportunities for growth and healing. By accepting our emotions without judgment, we allow ourselves to process and release them, creating space for peace to emerge. Connecting with a higher purpose or spirituality can also be instrumental in cultivating inner peace. Whether through prayer, meditation, or engaging in practices that resonate with us, connecting with the divine can provide a sense of grounding and comfort. Knowing that we are part of something greater can offer solace during challenging times, reminding us that we are never truly alone. The inner feeling of peace is a state of being that we can cultivate through self-awareness, mindfulness, self-compassion, and creating harmonious environments. It is a journey that requires patience, practice, and dedication, but the rewards are immeasurable. When we nurture our inner peace, we not only enhance our own lives, but also contribute to the collective harmony of the world around us. In this way, we become beacons of light, inspiring others to embark on their own journeys toward tranquility and well-being. As we embrace the beauty of inner peace, we open ourselves to a life filled with joy, resilience, and profound connection to ourselves and others. In conclusion, the journey of embracing and manifesting the principles we've discussed today, trusting God's plan, harnessing the power of imagination, embodying faith and persistence, and understanding the law of assumption, invites us to connect deeply with our inner selves and the universe. It reminds us that we are co-creators of our realities, capable of transforming our lives through the beliefs we hold and the emotions we cultivate. As we navigate our paths, let us remember that inner peace is our birthright, a sanctuary we can return to amidst the chaos of life. By nurturing this peace, we not only elevate ourselves, but also inspire those around us to do the same. Thank you for allowing me to share these thoughts with you today. May your journey be filled with light, love, and unwavering faith in the beautiful unfolding of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, we often find ourselves confronted by the harsh reality that others, sometimes even those we trust, have hurt us deliberately. The sting of betrayal, the bite of intentional harm, these are undeniable experiences. But today I want to share with you a truth far deeper than the pain you may have endured. Our lives unfold not as a series of random events, but as reflections of the assumptions we hold. To grasp the true power behind this concept is to understand that the world we experience is not fixed, nor is it dictated by external forces. Instead, it is continuously shaped by our internal beliefs, expectations, and the assumptions we carry about ourselves, others, and life as a whole. When we speak of assumption, we are not talking about idle thoughts or fleeting wishes. Assumptions are the deep-seated beliefs that operate at a subconscious level. They are the truths we accept without question, the things we expect to happen. These assumptions create the lens through which we see and interact with the world, and more importantly, they shape the very nature of the reality that unfolds before us. To assume something is not merely to think about it or hope for it. It is to embody it, to accept it as real, even before any external evidence has appeared. Our assumption is the blueprint, and our reality is the construction that follows. What we assume to be true, whether positive or negative, manifests in our lives. This is the power of assumption. It dictates what we experience. Most of us go through life unaware of this power. We often believe that the external world is what influences our internal state. If things go well, we feel good. If they don't, we feel bad. But this is a misunderstanding of the true nature of reality. In truth, the external world is merely a mirror reflecting our internal state. The thoughts and assumptions we hold within manifest as the circumstances, events, and people we encounter. To change the external, we must first change the internal. Consider, for a moment, how often we assume things without realizing it. We assume that a situation will not improve, that someone will let us down, that we are not capable of achieving a goal, or that life is inherently difficult. These assumptions seem harmless, even logical at times, but they are powerful creators. Each time we assume something, we give it life. We send a signal to our subconscious mind and, in turn, to the universe that this is our truth. And as surely as night follows day, reality conforms to meet our expectations. This is why it is so important to be conscious of what we assume. If we want to experience joy, success, love, or abundance, we must first assume it. This doesn't mean we pretend everything is perfect or that we ignore the challenges of life. Instead, we actively choose to believe in a reality that supports our desires, even if the evidence around us suggests otherwise. We assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. For example, if someone desires more financial abundance, they must begin to assume themselves to be financially abundant. Not in a superficial way, but deep within their being. They must feel, think, and act as if this abundance is already theirs. The world may not reflect this immediately. They may still see bills piling up, or their bank account may not yet show the desired figures. But these are just reflections of old assumptions. By holding steadfast to the new assumption of abundance, they begin to shift their reality. Eventually, the outer world must conform to the inner belief, and financial abundance will appear in their life. The key is persistence. Our external reality often lags behind our internal shifts because the physical world operates on time and space. But the mind is instant. When we assume something within, it is immediately true in the realm of consciousness. The challenge is to remain faithful to this new assumption, even when the outer world has not yet caught up. Too often people give up too soon, thinking that their new belief isn't working because they don't see immediate results. But persistence in the assumption will always lead to its manifestation. This principle also applies to relationships, health, career, or any other area of life. If someone assumes they are loved, they will attract love into their life. If they assume health, their body will begin to align with that state. If they assume success in their career, opportunities will present themselves. The world will begin to shift around them in ways that seem almost magical. But it is not magic, it is the power of assumption at work. The power of assumption is not something distant or complex. It is the recognition that we are always creating, always shaping our reality through our beliefs and expectations. The question is not whether we are using this power, but whether we are using it consciously. When we assume the best, when we align our internal state with the reality we desire, we harness the true creative power within us. Reality will reflect our assumptions. This is the unwavering law of life. The choice, then, is ours. In life, we encounter situations where the intentions of others directly or indirectly influence us. Sometimes these intentions are pure and positive, meant to help, guide, or uplift us. Other times, however, people may act with harmful or self-serving intentions, hoping to diminish our sense of self or limit our progress. It's easy to become consumed by the intentions of others, especially when their actions hurt us. But the truth is, while the intentions of others may shape certain events in our lives, they do not have the power to dictate our overall experience unless we allow them to. Intentions are internal. They originate from a person's thoughts, desires, and motivations. Experience, on the other hand, is how we perceive and internalize the external events of our lives. The critical distinction between these two is that intentions are something others impose, while our experience is ours to define. We may not be able to control what others intend for us, but we always retain the power to decide how we respond, interpret, and grow from what happens. Often, when someone acts with negative intentions, we instinctively react from a place of hurt or anger. We may feel betrayed, insulted, or diminished. In these moments, it seems as though their intentions have succeeded, they've managed to affect us. But this is only the surface level. What truly defines the experience isn't what they did or what they wanted to happen, it's how we interpret their actions and what we choose to believe about ourselves in response. If someone intends to bring us down by criticizing our work, for instance, it's natural to feel defensive or hurt. Yet the power lies not in their words or intent, but in how we choose to internalize those actions. If we believe their criticism to be true, if we let it seep into our self-image and affect our sense of worth, we have allowed their intention to shape our experience. However, if we recognize that their criticism comes from a place of their own insecurity or limitation, and if we remain confident in our abilities, their intentions lose their power. The experience becomes one of growth and resilience, not one of diminishment. This concept becomes even more significant when we consider positive intentions. People may intend to help us or offer guidance with the best of motives, but if we do not believe in ourselves or trust their guidance, the experience will not match their intention. A mentor's words, no matter how wise, can fall on deaf ears if the person receiving them is not open to listening. The experience then is shaped not by the well-meaning mentor's intention, but by the listener's readiness to receive and act upon it. What truly defines our life experience is our state of mind, our beliefs, and our focus. Two people can undergo the same event, be it a betrayal, a loss, or a success, and have vastly different experiences because of how they interpret and respond to it. One may view it as a devastating blow, while the other sees it as an opportunity for growth. The event is neutral until we assign meaning to it. The same goes for intentions. Whether someone seeks to harm or help us, it is our interpretation and emotional response that will ultimately shape our reality. It's also essential to acknowledge that people's intentions are often colored by their own limitations, fears, or misunderstandings. Someone might act out of jealousy, resentment, or even ignorance, and while their actions may appear harmful, they often say more about the person acting than about us. When we detach ourselves from the idea that others' intentions hold sway over us, we begin to reclaim our personal power. We are no longer puppets to external influences. Instead, we become the architects of our own experience. This doesn't mean that we ignore or suppress our emotions. Feeling hurt, angry, or disappointed is a natural part of the human experience. However, the key is in recognizing that these emotions do not have to define us. We can feel them, acknowledge them, and still choose to frame our experience in a way that uplifts rather than diminishes us. It's about responding rather than reacting, choosing our narrative instead of adopting one that has been imposed upon us. Our experience is shaped far more by our internal state than by the external actions or intentions of others. The intentions of others, whether positive or negative, are external forces that may attempt to sway us, but our internal reality is where true power lies. We get to choose what meaning to assign to events, how to respond to others, and how to interpret their actions. When we realize this, we step into the full strength of our ability to create our experience. We are not victims of circumstance or of others' intentions. We are the authors of our lives. Imagination is a force so profound that it shapes not just our thoughts, but the very fabric of our reality. Many people believe that the world around them exists independently of their mind, and that their experiences are dictated by the external events they encounter. Yet, in truth, it is our imagination that molds and defines the world we live in. Our internal world, our mental images and beliefs, create the circumstances and experiences we encounter daily. To understand this is to realize that imagination is not just a tool for daydreaming, but the very engine of creation itself. Everything that has ever existed in the physical world first existed as a thought, an idea, or an image in someone's mind. Before a building is erected, it is visualized by an architect. Before a work of art is created, it is imagined by an artist. Before any major life decision is made, we often imagine the outcomes, the possibilities, and the different paths we could take. This shows that the external world is a reflection of the internal, and that the reality we experience is shaped and forged by the power of imagination. When we use our imagination consciously, we begin to understand that we are not bound by the limitations of the physical world. Imagination allows us to transcend the present moment, to envision a reality that may not yet be visible or tangible, and through persistent belief and focus, we bring that vision into existence. This process works whether we are aware of it or not. The difference is that most people allow their imagination to be influenced by external circumstances. They see problems, obstacles, or limitations in their lives and imagine more of the same. As a result, their reality continues to mirror these challenges. But the key to transforming reality lies in taking control of the imaginative process. Instead of letting external circumstances dictate our thoughts and beliefs, we can use imagination to consciously create a new experience. To do this, we must first understand that imagination is not a passive act, but an active, creative force. It involves not just visualizing something we want, but feeling as though it is already real. The emotions and feelings we generate in our imaginative states are crucial, because they set the tone for how reality will respond to us. For example, if someone is struggling with financial difficulties, it's easy to let the current situation dominate their thoughts. They might constantly worry about money, focus on their lack, and imagine scenarios of financial failure. What they may not realize is that by doing this, they are actively reinforcing their current reality through the power of imagination. But if they consciously shift their focus and begin to imagine themselves in a state of abundance, feeling prosperous, secure, and free, their outer world will start to shift in alignment with those new imaginative states. Imagination has the ability to break the chains of limitation. It allows us to envision possibilities that may seem out of reach in the present moment. By repeatedly and vividly imagining a new reality, we start to change our internal state, which in turn influences our actions, decisions, and interactions with the world. This internal shift causes the external world to rearrange itself in ways that may seem coincidental or even miraculous. But in truth, these changes are the natural result of aligning our imagination with our desires. It's important to recognize that imagination is not limited to creating physical changes or material success. It also shapes our relationships, our health, and our overall sense of well-being. If someone constantly imagines themselves as unloved or unworthy, their reality will reflect that belief. They will attract relationships that confirm their self-image and create experiences that mirror their internal state. However, if they begin to imagine themselves as deserving of love, valued, and cherished, they will attract people and experiences that align with this new belief. Imagination is not bound by time or space. It can rewrite the past, influence the present, and shape the future. The act of revision, using imagination to mentally revisit past events and change how we feel about them, is a powerful tool in altering how those past experiences continue to affect us. By revising the past in our mind, we free ourselves from the emotional baggage it may carry, and as a result, we change how we experience life moving forward. The creative power of imagination is limitless. It is not something reserved for artists, writers, or dreamers. It is a tool that every one of us possesses, whether we recognize it or not. Our lives are shaped by the images we hold in our minds, and as soon as we take conscious control of those images, we begin to forge a reality that aligns with our deepest desires and aspirations. To forge reality through imagination is to acknowledge our role as creators of our experience, and to embrace the immense potential that lies within us to shape the world as we wish it to be. Life often presents us with moments where we feel powerless, as if we are at the mercy of circumstances beyond our control. Whether it's due to external events, the actions of others, or a series of personal setbacks, it's easy to fall into the belief that life is happening to us, not for us. However, the truth is we always have control more than we often realize. The key to transforming our lives is reclaiming that control by shifting our focus from the external world to the internal one, where our true power resides. Control, in this context, isn't about manipulating or forcing the outside world to conform to our desires. It's not about controlling other people or the specific outcomes of events. Instead, it's about taking charge of our internal state, our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and most importantly, how we respond to life's events. The external world will always present challenges, obstacles, and uncertainties, but our response to those situations defines whether we remain in control or lose it. One of the most empowering realizations is that we are not passive recipients of life. Our perception of reality is shaped by the thoughts we choose to focus on and the beliefs we hold about ourselves and the world. If we constantly focus on the negative, on what's wrong, or on how we've been wronged, we give away our power. We allow external events or the actions of others to dictate how we feel and consequently what we experience. But when we shift our attention inward and consciously decide how we will interpret and respond to life, we begin to reclaim control over our reality. To reclaim control means to take responsibility not in the sense of blame, but in the sense of acknowledging that we are the creators of our experience. This doesn't mean we can avoid challenges or difficult situations. Life is filled with ups and downs, and certain things will happen that are beyond our immediate control. However, what remains firmly in our grasp is how we choose to think and feel about those events. Our internal state, how we perceive and respond to these moments, is always within our power to control. A significant part of reclaiming control involves becoming aware of the stories we tell ourselves. Often we unconsciously adopt narratives that disempower us. We tell ourselves that we're unlucky, that life is unfair, or that we're victims of circumstance. These stories may seem justified in the face of certain experiences, but they keep us stuck in a state of helplessness. When we reclaim control, we begin to rewrite those narratives. Instead of focusing on what we can't control, we start to ask ourselves, what can I control? How can I choose to see this situation differently? This simple shift in perspective allows us to step back into a position of power. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim control is through the practice of mindfulness and self-awareness. By becoming aware of our thoughts and emotions, we can begin to notice when we are reacting to external events in ways that disempower us. Instead of reacting impulsively to a difficult situation, we can take a step back, observe our emotional response, and consciously choose how we want to act. This might mean choosing patience in a moment of frustration, compassion in a moment of anger, or resilience in a moment of adversity. When we respond in this way, we are no longer being controlled by our environment. Instead, we are controlling our internal state and in turn, shaping the reality we experience. Reclaiming control also involves understanding the power of focus. What we choose to focus on expands in our experience. If we focus on problems, we attract more problems. If we focus on solutions, opportunities begin to present themselves. By shifting our focus to what we can control, our attitude, our thoughts, our actions, we start to change the energy we bring into every situation. This shift in focus empowers us to take action from a place of inner strength rather than from a place of reaction or fear. It's important to remember that reclaiming control is not about perfection. There will be moments when we slip into old patterns of reaction, frustration, or feeling powerless. The key is not to judge ourselves harshly in those moments, but to gently bring ourselves back to the realization that we have the power to choose again. Every moment offers a new opportunity to reclaim control, to shift our focus, and to decide how we want to experience life. Ultimately, reclaiming control is about recognizing that the true power lies within us, not in the external world. It's about understanding that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. And in that response lies the seed of transformation. When we take full ownership of our inner world, we reclaim the power to shape our experience, no matter what the external circumstances may be. This is the path to true empowerment and lasting peace. The past, with all its memories, triumphs, and pains, often shapes who we are. Some experiences leave us with valuable lessons, while others, especially those marked by hurt, can linger and impact our present in ways we may not fully realize. These past hurts can become invisible weights, shaping our perceptions, beliefs, and even limiting our potential for happiness. However, we are not prisoners of our past. One of the most profound ways to heal and move forward is by revising those past hurts. Revision, in this sense, is not about erasing or denying what happened. It's about altering the emotional and psychological impact that past events have on our present. The key lies in understanding that while the event itself is fixed in time, the meaning we assign to it and the way we remember it is entirely within our control. By consciously revisiting and reshaping our memories, we can transform the effect they have on us today. Most of us carry hurt from past relationships, failures, or moments of perceived betrayal or loss. These experiences become part of the narrative we tell ourselves about who we are. We might believe that because someone hurt us, we are unworthy of love, or because we failed in the past, we are destined to fail again. But these are not truths, they are simply the meanings we have attached to events. Revising the past is about reclaiming the power to change those meanings. The first step in revising past hurts is awareness. Often the emotional scars from past experiences are deeply buried. We may not even realize how much a past event is affecting our present behavior. A painful breakup, for instance, might lead someone to keep others at arm's length out of fear of being hurt again. A failure in a previous career might cause someone to avoid taking risks or pursuing new opportunities. To revise the past, we must first bring these memories and their accompanying emotions to the surface. Once we identify the memories that need revising, the next step is to change the emotional tone of those memories. This is where imagination becomes a powerful tool. When revisiting a painful memory, instead of replaying it as it happened, we can imagine a different outcome. This doesn't mean pretending the event never occurred, but rather altering how we interpret and feel about it. For example, if someone experienced rejection in a relationship, instead of reliving the pain of being unloved, they could imagine themselves as someone who is worthy of love, appreciated, and valued in that moment. They could revise the scene to reflect the understanding that the rejection was not a reflection of their worth, but a step toward finding a more meaningful connection. The act of revision is not just mental gymnastics, it's a deeply transformative practice that changes our emotional responses. When we change how we feel about a past event, we release the hold it has over our present life. We no longer carry the emotional baggage of those experiences into our future. This emotional freedom allows us to create new, more empowering narratives about ourselves and our potential. One of the greatest benefits of revising past hurts is the healing that it brings. Many people go through life carrying resentment, guilt, or regret. These emotions can act like poison, slowly eroding our sense of well-being and preventing us from fully embracing joy in the present. By revising the past, we can forgive ourselves and others, letting go of negative emotions that no longer serve us. This doesn't mean condoning harmful actions or forgetting the lessons learned. Instead, it's about freeing ourselves from the emotional chains that bind us to the past. The process of revision also helps us reclaim our sense of power. Often, past hurts leave us feeling powerless, as if we were victims of circumstances beyond our control. But by revising these memories, we remind ourselves that we always have the power to control how we feel and respond. We are not defined by what happened to us, we are defined by how we choose to interpret and grow from those experiences. As we begin to revise our past, we may notice changes in our present. The emotional weight of old wounds starts to lift, and we feel lighter, freer, and more open to new possibilities. Our relationships improve, because we are no longer projecting old hurts onto new interactions. Our confidence grows, because we are no longer held back by past failures. In essence, by revising the past, we create a new internal landscape that allows us to move forward with greater clarity and peace. Revising past hurts is a powerful practice that empowers us to reshape our lives from the inside out. By changing the emotional narrative attached to past events, we free ourselves from the limiting beliefs and emotions that keep us stuck. This practice is not about rewriting history, but about reclaiming control over how our past influences our present and future. In doing so, we open the door to healing, growth, and a more empowered way of living. The realization that the self is the creator of one's reality is both empowering and transformative. It marks a profound shift in understanding, moving away from the idea that life happens to us, and toward the recognition that life happens through us. Each of us has the ability to shape our experiences, influence our circumstances, and mold the very fabric of our reality. This power lies not in controlling external events or people, but in mastering the internal world of thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and imagination. To embrace the self as creator, the first step is acknowledging that everything we experience begins within. The thoughts we think, the stories we tell ourselves, and the beliefs we hold create a mental framework that influences how we perceive the world. More importantly, these internal processes actively shape the events we encounter. When we understand that our internal state is the source of our external reality, we can begin to consciously direct it to create the experiences we desire. At the core of this understanding is the recognition that our beliefs and assumptions act as powerful filters. They determine what we notice, how we interpret events, and ultimately what we attract into our lives. If we believe that life is full of struggle, that success is rare, or that love is hard to find, our experiences will reflect those beliefs. The world will seem to confirm what we expect, because we are unconsciously shaping our reality to align with our inner convictions. Conversely, when we shift our beliefs to ones that are empowering and aligned with the reality we wish to create, our experience of life changes dramatically. If we believe that we are capable, deserving, and abundant, we begin to notice opportunities that support those beliefs. Situations that might have been seen as obstacles become stepping stones, and we attract people and experiences that affirm our new mindset. In this way, the self as creator means we are constantly influencing and shaping reality through our thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. A critical aspect of embracing oneself as the creator of reality is understanding the role of imagination. Imagination is not merely a tool for fantasy or wishful thinking, it is the mechanism through which creation happens. Before anything can exist in the external world, it must first exist in the mind. Every invention, every building, every work of art began as an image in someone's mind. This process is no different for the individual. Whatever we repeatedly imagine and believe to be true will eventually manifest in our lives. However, many people use their imagination unconsciously, allowing fear, doubt, and negative scenarios to dominate their inner world. They imagine worst-case outcomes, relive past hurts, or dwell on problems, and in doing so, they are unwittingly creating more of what they don't want. The self as creator must take deliberate control of the imagination, consciously visualizing the desired outcomes and feeling as if they are already real. This practice of imagining from the end, feeling the emotions of having already achieved or experienced what we desire, is key to bringing that reality into existence. Another aspect of self-creation involves taking full responsibility for one's life. This doesn't mean blaming oneself for every misfortune or struggle, but rather understanding that we have the power to change our response to any situation. Life is filled with events that seem random or outside of our control, but our internal reaction to those events is where our true power lies. By taking responsibility for how we respond, whether with resilience, acceptance, or creativity, we reclaim the role of creator. We recognize that while we cannot always control what happens, we can always control how we experience and move forward from it. In embracing the self as creator, it's also important to understand that this power is not about manipulating others or forcing outcomes. It is about aligning with the natural flow of life and using our internal state, our thoughts, feelings, and imagination to create harmony between ourselves and the world around us. When we operate from this place of alignment, we begin to notice that life seems to cooperate with us. Synchronicities occur, opportunities arise seemingly out of nowhere, and challenges are resolved more easily. This is because we are no longer fighting against the current of life, but flowing with it, using our creative power to shape the journey. The self as creator is not a solitary role. While each individual is the creator of their own reality, we are also interconnected with others, creating a shared experience of the world. Our thoughts, beliefs, and actions influence those around us, just as we are influenced by the collective consciousness. This understanding invites a sense of responsibility not only for our personal reality, but for the larger world we help create through our interactions with others. The self as creator is a powerful reminder that we are not passive participants in life. We are active creators, capable of shaping our experiences, influencing our circumstances, and crafting the reality we desire. By consciously directing our thoughts, beliefs, and imagination, we step into our role as creators and realize that the power to transform our lives lies within us. This is a journey of empowerment, self-mastery, and ultimately of realizing that we hold the key to our own destiny. In conclusion, the message is clear: we are not passive bystanders in the unfolding of our lives, but powerful creators of our own reality. Through our thoughts, beliefs, and imagination, we shape the world we experience. By taking responsibility for our inner state, consciously directing our focus, and embracing our role as creators, we can transform our lives from within. The path to fulfillment, success, and peace lies in recognizing that everything we need is already within us, waiting to be realized. Thank you.